Something that wasn't foul about the Liberty Fever contest is the way that both teams conduct themselves, right? Like the Liberty are a pro team, a classy team, obviously a championship team. They benefited from the calls in the WNBA finals, at least in game five, that's for sure. And they benefited against the Fever, but they're a great team that handles business appropriately. And the Fever, too. The Fever are a team that wants it to be about ball and not the other nonsense. So I thought it was worth pointing out this one instance from the broadcast after the fact. Given Jonquel Jones, WNBA Finals MVP, made it a point to shout out Fever fans. Fever fans who have been much maligned. A certain narrative has been painted around the Fever fan base, and what Jonquel Jones said kind of flew in the face of that. And it's almost like she made it a point to say it, while also crediting the Fever team as well.
Be ready when you come in. When you come in here, Indiana has such great fans and their culture. So we knew it was going to be a tough one. We knew it was going to be a fight, and for their team to be a new team, they're doing really well and they're playing really well together. So we expected it.
Jonquel is a hooper, by the way, who gave the Fever tons of trouble and is going to give the Fever tons of trouble and other teams tons of trouble anytime they face off with her, because she's very unique in the WNBA. I'm trying to think of another player who has the size to like manipulate and beat you up inside and assert herself in that way, while also spreading the floor as a legitimate shooter. Like not one who can knock down a little bit, but a big who's a marksman. And Jonquel Jones is both, not to mention a hellacious screener. She sets great screens. She also knows how to run the floor and catch the ball, as we saw in the All-Star game next to Caitlin Clark. And she was arguably the best player on the floor in that game. Arguably the best player on the floor in that contest with the Fever and the Liberty in that one, where she just was getting busy all over the place. And the Fever really had no answer for her, in what she was able to do out in that game. So you look at, some of the highlights here, and there's that cut I'm talking about, able to finish and able to, manipulate things in the movement too at her size. Not just finish, but she's able to catch and finish and change directions in the air. It's good footwork, as you can see right there. And she's too big. Even Aliyah's not tiny, but not big enough to deal with her. And then, of course, Mouse in the house, Lexi Hull there. An easy bucket there. This is one of Caitlin Clark's misses. Actually looked good coming off. Good defense from Jonquel. Can handle it a little bit. I mean, that's just tough. What do you do with that? Look, her seal off there, Natasha Howard. Too strong. Swap buckets. There's just the threat of a screen, and to be able to step back and hit it. I mean, she's a hooper. Tremendous player. So as Jonquel Jones is showing love to the Fever fans, it's worth showing her some love too, because she wasn't the Finals MVP for no reason. She wasn't a former WNBA MVP for no reason. She is quite a player. As far as while we're out showing love, another player who deserves some of it, and you saw her in the highlights, was AB. I actually talked to AB about her season so far in the post-game press conference, because, it's a disappointing loss, but she has played her best basketball.
Aliyah, obviously a disappointing loss, but you've had a really strong start to the season. How would you assess your own play and what's led to that?
I mean, I'm really just out there hooping, doing what my team needs for me. I think for me, I try not to honestly look at how I'm doing, but what I'm doing to affect our team. And so just making sure that I can do everything, score the ball around the rim, be consistent there. So for me, that's really my focus, just making sure that I'm consistent, scoring the ball, defending, and being able to grab some rebounds.
Maybe I could have been more specific, but you can tell, Aliyah means that. That's not just lip service. She means it. She is trying to impact the game in a number of ways. We've seen it defensively. To me, she just looks to be in really good shape. She's finishing around the basket at a higher level, and she's really taking a jump and has taken a jump in her production so far this year, because there's a lot of positive things to take away from the Indiana Fever right now. I mean, Dewana Bonner has not been able to find her offense whatsoever, but she defended and rebounded in this game yesterday. You can just see from this one play, you see her, there's the steal, good pass to Lexi Hull. She was grabbing some tough rebounds throughout the game as well. I think the move to the 4 position at this phase in her career is going to help her out, which will come with the shift in the lineup that Stephanie White brought, where you see Lexi Hull in the starting lineup instead of Bonner, because it's tough, I think, for Bonner to play alongside Natasha Howard. That it's better when those two are spread out or split up. And even, finding the right combinations between Boston and Howard and Bonner is going to be interesting, I think, as the season goes along. But, Sophie and Lexi provide different looks, obviously, for the Fever. And the rotation's actually been pretty tight so far this year. I mean, Bree Turner didn't get into the game. Michaela Timpson didn't get into the game. Sydney Colson didn't get into the game. Not saying that was a mistake. They haven't really earned their way onto the floor with their play thus far. Caitlin Clark playing better defense, I think, this year. I think her defense has been pretty strong. If you look at the numbers, she's actually near the top of the league in defensive win shares and some of the other advanced statistical categories. Now, some of that is still swayed from the Chicago Sky game, but you're getting better defense from Caitlin. I thought Kelsey Mitchell made some nice reads in that game as a passer, but all, like encouraging signs. And if you look at all the advanced statistics, they favor the Fever in a lot of ways. They indicate that the Fever are a really good basketball team so far in a small sample size. Now, their record says they're a 500 team, but we know that's by a combined 3 points. We also know they got a rough whistle in the loss there to the Liberty. And really, over the course of the season so far, they've gotten a rough whistle, which is why Stephanie White blew the whistle on it, so to speak. But overall, there are a lot of encouraging signs for where the Fever are going as a basketball team. I mean, they could easily be 4-0, as was positioned to Caitlin Clark in the post-game interview. All of their advanced stats look good. Aliyah Boston is playing the best basketball of her career. Stephanie White's already showing she's not afraid to make changes to the lineup and best utilize the personnel. Obviously, Sophie Cunningham still just got back. So you go head-to-head to the Liberty. They get 17 more free throw attempts than you, and you lose by a bucket. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, you don't want to blow a lead. You don't want to have 10 turnovers if you're Caitlin Clark. Though I generally live with Caitlin Clark's turnovers as long as they're coming because she's being aggressive. It's when she's, sloppy or the team is sloppy that it's a problem. But a lot of good signs for the Fever. If the worst it's going to be is a 2-point loss to the Liberty, you're not in bad shape overall, I guess, is the moral of the story beyond, a couple days of talk about the referees.